And it's now, obviously, over 2 weeks since Ukraine agreed to an immediate 30-day ceasefire. That offer is still unanswered. It's over a week since Putin agreed to an energy and infrastructure ceasefire, but since then, Russia has hit energy infrastructure in cities across Ukraine. They've increased their bombardment, firing over 1,000 long-range drones at the country, hitting Ukrainian homes, schools and hospitals, with widespread civilian casualties. One drone killed a mother, a father and their daughter, an innocent family. Then this week we saw the agreement on a ceasefire in the Black Sea. I welcomed this as a vital first step forward, but within a few minutes of the announcement, Russia set out new conditions and delays. Now, President Trump has rightly called them out for dragging their feet. And we agreed here in Paris today that it's clear the Russians are filibustering. They are playing games and they're playing for time. It is a classic from the Putin playbook. So here in Paris, we've agreed that we must go further now to support the peace process, support Ukraine, and increase the pressure on Russia to get serious. That means, first, stepping up the military pressure. So the Defence Secretary will chair the next Ukraine Defence Contact Group on the 11th of April to marshal more military aid and keep Ukraine in the fight. Second, it means increasing the economic pressure on Russia, accelerating new, tougher sanctions, bearing down on Russia's energy revenues and working together to make this pressure count. We also discussed how we can support the implementation of a full or partial ceasefire when it is in place, and how we can build on efforts towards negotiations on a just and lasting peace. This is Europe mobilising together behind the peace process on a scale that we haven't seen for decades. Backed by partners from around the world, we are determined to deliver a just and lasting peace, because we know that it is vital for Ukraine and Europe as a whole. And I am clear that it's also vital for Britain. President Trump absolutely clearly wants a lasting peace in Ukraine, and that's directing all of his actions, and in a matter of weeks he has got both sides, as it were, to a negotiating table, and we've made some progress. Ukraine has clearly put forward 2 weeks ago now its proposal in relation to a ceasefire. What we now need to do, in my view, is increase the pressure on Russia to get to that proposal on a ceasefire, to meet it and to match it as a first step towards a lasting peace. And I think that's the right course, and that's why we are supporting the US in this endeavour. What I am saying is that this is a process. I believe the goal is the right goal, which is a lasting peace in Ukraine that secures the security and sovereignty of Ukraine. I am not alone in that view, because that is the President Trump's view. It's clearly the view of a group of countries now that we've put together, 30 countries, openly saying amongst themselves this morning that this is the strongest they've seen Europe in a very long time. And they mean Europe and not institutions within Europe. I don't doubt that Russia doesn't want the deal defended, because an undefended deal is in their interest. That's what happened last time, and look what they did. So I don't pause for long on that particular point. On the US, look, we're talking to the US all the time at almost every level, including NSA level. I speak to the president regularly, and it is really important that we continue to do so, working with the US, being clear about what we're achieving. The first thing is we need to make sure the Ukrainian capability is as strong as possible. It has to be built on that. There's this idea of a porcupine strategy, which is making sure that Ukraine is in the strongest position. They've got an incredible fighting force now. They've got 3 years' experience in conflict on the front line. So building that capability, maintaining and building on it, but also putting this, I would say, I say coalition of the willing, I mean, this is a force designed to deter in order to send that message to Putin that this is a deal that is going to be defended. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves with a vote because we're not at that stage. We are at the stage of turning the political momentum into operational plans, looking at the various options and then going for the next piece of work with the Chiefs of Defence. But you know my long-standing position, which is if we were to deploy in any scenario on a long-term basis, then of course Parliament should have a say in that, and I don't deflect from that.